Hi, folks. This week we are reading one of the most important authors of the 20th century, Kurt Vonnegut. We are looking at his nonfiction letters over the course of his life. The first is in 1945. The last one you'll read is in 2007, which was the year before he died. And these letters span the course of his career and the course of a very interesting and complex life that he lived. Now, in each of these letters, we're looking at rhetoric and the way he makes his rhetorical appeals and how he's using craft to create that artistic effect in a nonfiction setting. Now, for these letters, there is important context for you to understand, and there's important analysis for each one. So, in this literature study, I will be spreading your videos throughout each text, between each text, and it's going to be important for you to make sure and pause between each reading and go through the context and the exigence in order to best understand and best read those texts. To introduce you to Kurt Vonnegut, he is a one of the most influential writers of the 20th century. He's most famous for his novel Slaughterhouse-Five, which we'll talk about in this literature study. He is essayist, novelist, journalist, playwright. He wrote tons of stuff, and he is noted for his very original, informal, and distinct style in writing. Um, I think one of the best ways to encapsulate who Kurt Vonnegut is and how he demonstrates or how he carries his ethos in his writing is with this quote from his obituary in Times Magazine. Vonnegut's sincerity, his willingness to scoff at received wisdom, is such that reading his work for the first time gives one the sense that everything else is rank hypocrisy. His opinion of human nature was low, and that low opinion applied to his heroes and his villains alike. He was endlessly disappointed in humanity and in himself, and he expressed that disappointment in a mixture of tar-black humor and deep despair. He could easily have become a crank, but he was too smart. He could have become a cynic, but there was something tender in his nature that he could never quite suppress. He could have become a bore, but even at his most despairing, he had an endless willingness to entertain his readers with drawings, jokes, sex, bizarre plot twists, science fiction, whatever it took. And there's no better way to put it when it comes to Kurt Vonnegut. He is cynical, he is unimpressed with the world, but he has every reason to be because of his life experiences, which you're going to read about in his letters. But underneath all of that cynicism and sarcasm and eccentricity, there is this underlying sense of optimism and hope that belies a lot of his work. We're going to go ahead and watch a bio video from TED Ed that gets a little bit more into that, and then I'll provide you with context for your first letter.